Hi everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to 10 Minute Story. Today, we're stepping back to a moment in time when one of the greatest cities in the world faced an invisible enemy, one that invaded its streets, poisoned its rivers, and finally forced a nation to act. That enemy was the smell. It's 1858. The River Thames, once the beating heart of London, has turned into a stinking, festering sewer. The air is so toxic that even Parliament can't sit in session. But from this foul disaster came something extraordinary, a revolution in public health that changed cities forever. This is the story of the Great Stink, and how it forced London to build one of the world's first modern sewer systems, an engineering feat still in use today. In the mid-19th century, London was the largest city on Earth. Over 2.5 million people lived there, and more were arriving every day. It was the pride of the British Empire, the center of commerce, politics, and culture. Yet beneath this grandeur lurked a dark secret. The city's sanitation system was completely overwhelmed. Most homes lacked indoor plumbing. Wealthy households might have a water closet, but for the vast majority, the chamber pot was standard. These pots were emptied into cesspools that often overflowed. In poorer neighborhoods, waste was sometimes simply dumped into the streets or gutters. Rainstorms washed this filth directly into the River Thames, which served double duty as both London's sewage dump and its primary source of drinking water for many. This polluted water was a breeding ground for deadly diseases. To make matters worse, the Industrial Revolution was in full swing. Factories dumped chemical waste, slaughterhouses released blood and animal remains, and tanneries poured toxic byproducts into the river. The Thames had turned into what one observer described as a great open sewer. Despite this, the river was still used for washing clothes, fishing, and sometimes even drinking. The grim reality was that many Londoners had no choice. Between 1831 and 1854, London was hit by several waves of cholera, an acute bacterial infection causing severe diarrhea and dehydration, often fatal if untreated. Thousands of Londoners died in each outbreak. Entire districts were decimated, but how cholera spread was a mystery. At the time, many subscribed to the miasma theory, the belief that diseases were spread by foul odors in the air. Enter John Snow, a London physician who challenged the status quo. During the 1854 cholera outbreak, he noticed a cluster of cases near the Broad Street water pump. His meticulous investigations and mapping showed that people who drank from that pump were falling ill. When the pump handle was removed, the outbreak slowed. Snow's work is often called the birth of modern epidemiology, yet his ideas faced fierce skepticism. Germ theory, which revealed bacteria as disease agents, was not widely accepted for years. Meanwhile, the Thames continued to serve as the city's sewer and water supply, a deadly contradiction. The summer of 1858 was brutally hot. A heat wave dried up the river's flow, causing sewage to accumulate and ferment in the Thames. The foul odor permeated the city, especially along the riverbanks. People described it as a pestilential stench, so overpowering it disrupted daily life. In Parliament, windows were closed and cloth soaked in vinegar was hung to mask the smell. Yet members of Parliament often had to stop sessions because of the unbearable fumes. Some even wore handkerchiefs soaked in ammonia over their noses. Public outcry reached fever pitch. Newspapers ran sensational headlines warning of the city's disgrace and the health risks posed by the polluted river. This was the tipping point. After years of neglect and denial, the government realized something had to be done. Joseph Bazalgette was a relatively obscure civil engineer before the crisis. Tasked with fixing London's sanitation, he proposed a visionary plan, a massive integrated sewer network that would redirect sewage far away from the city. His design was remarkable for its scale and foresight. He planned over 1,100 miles of small sewers and more than 80 miles of large intercepting sewers to collect waste from across London. These pipes would carry sewage eastward, away from drinking water sources. Bazalgette's team also built powerful pumping stations, such as those at Crossness and Abbey Mills, which pushed sewage uphill when gravity alone wasn't enough. An astonishing detail. Bazalgette built the sewers twice as large as necessary, anticipating future population growth. This decision meant the system could handle London's expansion well into the 20th century. Construction began in the 1860s amid difficult conditions. Workers, many of them manual laborers known as navvies, dug massive tunnels beneath the city. To make space for the new infrastructure, Bazalgette redesigned parts of the Thames embankment, turning river mudflats into elegant tree-lined promenades that also housed the new sewers and gas pipes. The pumping stations were architectural masterpieces, combining utility with grandeur. Crossness, for example, featured intricate ironwork and decorative brickwork, earning it the nickname Cathedral of Sewage. Despite the unpleasant nature of the work, the project was a success. By the early 1870s, cholera had all but disappeared from London, and the river's water quality improved dramatically. Bazalgette's sewer system set a new standard globally. Cities from New York to Paris sent engineers to study his work. It marked a turning point in public health thinking. Infrastructure was no longer just about convenience, it was a vital component of disease prevention. This project inspired similar efforts worldwide, turning the modern sewer into an essential part of urban life. The Great Stink teaches us many lessons. Science often takes time to catch up with reality. Public pressure and political will can drive massive change. Investing in infrastructure saves lives, sometimes millions. Often, crises reveal how much we rely on invisible systems. Bazalgette may not be as famous as other Victorian figures, but his legacy is everywhere beneath our feet, silently protecting millions. Even today, sanitation challenges persist. Around 3.6 billion people worldwide lack safely managed sanitation. Urbanization and climate change strain aging systems. Sewer overflows during floods threaten public health. London's sewer system, though historic, still operates, testament to Bazalgette's genius. It has been upgraded, but the bones of Victorian engineering remain. The Great Stink reminds us to value infrastructure, and the people behind it more than we often do. From unbearable stench to underground marvel, the Great Stink wasn't just a smelly moment in history, it was the birth of the modern city. If you like this story, check out our episodes on how anesthesia changed surgery, the story of the first traffic light, or how diseases shaped urban design. And don't forget, every day a new pill of curiosity. See you next time.